My mother Betty, she actually was a housekeeper. If you go down here where the Macedonian church is, and you go towards the Y, rather than go up towards the cemetery, go the other way, there was a person right there on the left-hand side as you go down into that little dip right there that she took care of for several years. Like I said, she'd go to people's houses and she'd stay with them and stuff.
Yeah.
How well did you know my grandmother?
I really didn't. My mother knew her, and I knew the name through her.
Okay, do you know Ethel? Ethel Hobb?
Yes.
You know Miss Ethel? Yes. She was raised down here somewhere.
Yeah.
Where?
There used to be a house over on this road, and there's a little lane in the field. Used to be 3 houses up there.
Okay, there's still a road back in there. It looked like Old Field Road. Did she live back on the other side of the hill back in there? Is that where she lived?
Well, you can't see it from the corner, but that straight that way, it was a lane.
Yeah.
Went up, and there was 3 houses up to there
There was.
at one time.
On the right or left?
On the right.
On the right. Did she live all the way down to the river?
No. About, I don't know how many feet, about as far as that house up there, off the back side.
Okay, so she's probably a football field or two away from the river itself?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe then some? But y'all do remember her being raised up in this area?
Yeah.
And then she got married and then she moved up north. And now she come back down to Kenton and now she's living over there. I don't even know. Is that Macedonia Road? Is that what that...
Pine Fort Road.
What is it?
Pine Fort Road.
Half Pork Road?
Pine Fort.
Can't stand him.
What, Larry?
Pine Fort.
Concord.
Concord.
Yeah.
Concord
Go
Road.
out of Kenton, like you're going Union City.
Yeah.
Yes.
Back off to your left.
Yes.
That's Pine Fort Road.
Okay, there's 2 churches back over there. There's a Macedonia church.
No, it was Concord and Christian Chapel. Macedonia's right over here.
Okay, that's right. I got my directions wrong.
That's easy.
Concord Church is the church that Aunt Lily used to go to that was married to Big Jim. Did you know Jim Ring?
Yeah, I remember.
I did.
Do you remember Miss Lily?
Yeah, I remember vaguely.
Okay, I think Miss Lily and Lucille, if I'm not mistaken, they were sisters.
I have no idea.
You know Jenny Ring over here in Kenton?
I used to know her when she was growing up.
She's in her 90s now.
Oh, okay. Was her name Jenny? I thought her daughter's name was Jenny.
Well, she had 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And, of course, that was whenever Miss Lucille, I'm recording this, by the way, for historical purposes. Whenever you go down there to Texas Gas, you turn left, there was a big 2-story house down there, and that was the house that Lily lived in, and Lucille lived in that little bitty old house that sit right there next to the road. So you do remember them back in there.
I remember that they lived back in there. I never did really know them, except I knew the names.
I got you.
Well, I knew Jim Ring, and he went to church Concord. We did too.
That's right. As a matter of fact, Jim Ring helped to contribute to that church over there towards donating his farm after he died, if I'm not mistaken, did he?
I don't know that.
Jeanette Ring. Not Jenny, but Jeanette Ring.
Jeanette Ring, that's right. That's right. You're absolutely correct. But over on the side of the building, it's got names of who helped to establish the building, and they thought enough of him that they put his name on there. And I didn't even know that went on whenever she died because I was so young. I didn't keep up with stuff like that. I'm 62 now. I can tell by looking at y'all. Y'all just kind of getting started in life, ain't you?
We're 39.
Okay. And Holden. You got to be Holden. You got a lot of children? Got grandchildren?
We have 2 children and 6 grandchildren, a great-grandchild.
You got a great-grandchild.
Yeah.
Good for y'all.
Yeah, he's precious.
And is down the road here, is that part of y'all's bunch down here?
No.
Y'all don't have no kin folks up and down the road?
No.
None at all.
None at all.
Our kids live at Dyer.
Huh?
Our children lived at Dyer.
At Dyer. Okay, you probably knew Billy Jean Jordan, the one that run the Dyer Motors there for years and years and years, the body shop there where the dealership used to be. That was a son to Lucille.
I don't really.
And there was also another son by the name of Charles. Charles Jordan.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
I've heard that name.
Yeah. Yep.
What's
What drove me out this way is all that rain that we've gotten. I was just wondering if any of that bottom land down in there flooded.
I feel like it did.
well, you can't see from the road. We ride down there once in a while. But down in here around these woods, it might have.
You think so?
It could have.
Is the Fork of Deer River directly in behind you, or is it more over this way?
Other way.
It's more that way. It is.
Yeah.
The creek come out, come out of Ken, the creek you cross,
Yes, sir.
that runs into Old Band River.
I got you.
And, Old Band River's this way and that runs up.
Well, I remember my dad. Do y'all remember, by chance, did y'all ever know Bobby Jackson over there in Hop-In, Sidonia community? He was a farmer and he played the guitar a little bit and he also painted cars. I had a brother that worked for Tillman over here in the body shop for about 6 or 7 years. He was redheaded, skinny.
What was his name?
Danny.
Danny Jackson.
When you Cecil Jackson used to live over there.
Yeah, Cecil, you used to live back in there. Did you know Cecil?
I knew Cecil, yeah.
Did you know his wife Alice?
I knew of her.
Really? Cecil was a fine feller. He had Bible studies and everything there at his house. He was actually the cousin or uncle or brother or something like that to my great grandfather. My grandfather's name was Kelmer Jackson. That was married to Miss Aldell Jackson. That went to the Alamo Baptist Church for years and years and years. But my great grandfather was Jeff Jackson, that used to run the old Penn store. After you go to Hop-In, you go around the corner there where Dan Simmons' beer joint used to be, and as soon as you cross over the county line road going from Obion County to Weakley County, there on Highway 89, you'll go down in a little flat where Bill Ramsey, the Ramseys used to be on the right-hand side. He used to milk cows right there. I think he milked about 60 or 70 cows at one time. And once you start up that little hill right there used to be a long store right there on the left-hand side.
I don't remember this.
Do you not remember that? All right. Do you remember Connie White that had a store up there in Sidonia?
I didn't know them, but I knew the two stores used to be there.
Okay. You knew the Reynolds brothers that owned the service station right there in Sidonia.
No, I didn't do much.
You didn't do much trading over that way?
No.
Where did you do most of your trading at?
In Kenton.
In Kenton. Well, that's where my mother was raised up.
Are you any kin to Joe Jackson?
That is a different set of Jacksons. Sure is. Now, Miss Ethel, she believes that we're kin because her Meemaw used to be a Jackson before she got married.
Oh, okay.
So somehow or another, we're kin to them.
You might stop and talk to J. Ray Hobbs. That would be Ethel's uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ken does.
Is that the one that got his arm?
No, it's
Well, that's
Teddy.
Teddy. That's
Teddy is the one that got his arm.
right.
Now, wasn't there somebody else back in here somewhere running a backhoe or something that got killed?
Mr. Grant down here.
What was his name?
Wayne Grant.
Wayne Grant. It was a big equipment accident or some sort, wasn't it?
Well, I had my son had a slab of concrete, and they picked it up, and he was holding it. It come loose, and it landed on me. But he died in the hospital.
So it crushed him.
Yeah, one side of it.
Oh man,
His wife lives down yonder. She's still living.
she's still living, and his son's still living, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He does the farming.
He does the farming.
Right,
What's his name? David or something?
David.
Yeah, David. I thought I knew him.
He lives in Relaford.
Does he?
Yeah.
And she's still living down there by herself, I guess.
Yeah.
She's got a nice vehicle. I guess she still gets around by herself. She
Oh, yeah.
still maintains her own independence and stuff.
Very much so.
Really? How old is she, you reckon?
She's
She's 82, 83.
will be.
She was born in 49.
And how many acres do you reckon they got back there? Probably about 2,000 acres?
Close to that, yeah.
Close to that?
Yeah.
Who around here has the most acreage?
She does.
Hobbs?
No.
She had,
Hobbs has probably got more because Hobbs almost owns Obion River going over into Gibson County, doesn't he? He owns all that back in there, don't he?
I don't know.
He didn't used to, but he works it.
Well,
He works it. There you go. He works it.
that corn, the water got over back before we get to road up together.
Now, whenever water gets over corn like that, does it ruin it?
I don't know.
It got a.
I don't know if it swells, make it swell up or not.
I feel like it's ruined, but I don't know that. If it doesn't get up too high, it's all right. But if it covers the ears,
Yeah,
that's different.
because you can drive from here to Kenton, you can smell it.
Yeah.
It smells spoilt, don't it?
Well, the beans will stink.
And of course, once the water gets over the beans are automatically going to die, ain't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They did. That'd be a total loss on that, won't it?
Yeah, the corn is still green. You know what's.
You know, before they built the levee and helped this river, what's the name of this creek down through here?
I don't know.
Rutherford. Is it
From
Rutherford?
here to Kenton, there's a creek you got to go through.
I don't know what they call that.
I thought they called it Rutherford Creek.
Rutherford Creek.
I'm making-
Before they dammed and built all that up down there, it used to be bad about flooding.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I don't remember what year it was. I think it was somewhere around 92 or something like that, where Kenton flooded. And my brother David had a storage, was renting over there at Kenton at the time, and all his stuff got ruined. I've seen, and y'all probably remember it too, back whenever it would really, really flood bad,
I seen it get up to the railroad.
you'd see it get up to the railroad.
Yeah, water. Up close to the railroad.
Is that why Co-op is built so high right there?
Imagine.
You think so? Somebody went in there with a lot of dirt and built that building up, didn't they?
Yeah. Those colored people on the left.
Now they probably prone of, or used to be prone of getting flooded, huh?
Yeah. They have moved them out before.
They have.
Yeah.
And Reeves is really bad about flooding, ain't he?
Yeah.
And would Reeves come off that other river, like going back towards Gooch's? Because that's where it forks, right?
Yeah, that's the north Obion River.
But it forks right there, correct?
Yeah.
Part of it goes down towards 45 in between Union City and Kenton. And the other part, where does it actually go to? It goes over there by the Turner Farm, right? Where the duck hunting club and all that used to be, right? Back over there, like going to the Davy Crockett Bottom back in there. Gucci, they call it Gucci's now, I think.
Well, it could be, yeah.
I think that's where all that goes off
I'm
into.
not sure about that.
But that's a overflow that actually comes to the T right there and then goes back around. Of course, the water that comes out of the Obion River, that actually begins way up towards Coleman. You know where Coleman is?
No.
Yeah, you do. You know where Paris is?
Yeah.
You got to go through Coleman to get to Paris.
Oh, we call it Como.
Okay, Como.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the Obion, that's where the North Creek right there starts. If I'm not, no, it's the southern part of Obion County, and the northern part begins over there by is it Parsons or Lexington?
Well, it could be. I think it goes to part of Sharon, Greenfield, that way.
Okay, yeah,
Some of it.
yeah, it goes on, back in that way. So how long have y'all been living here?
48 years.
48 years. So you moved here in what year? 1980?
My daughter was 2 years old. One of them.
And say she's born 75.
You moved here in 1975.
Right.
Where did you move from? Kenton?
Macedonia Church.
Macedonia Church.
Yeah, about,
Once you get to the Macedonia Church, was it before you get to the Macedonia Church?
yeah,
That place on the right-hand side?
yeah.
That white house right there?
No.
Well, it's a red brick.
Okay, a red brick one right there?
And they built a house back there in the field behind it.
I got you. I just imagine y'all knew Leroy Neal.
Yeah.
How well did you know Leroy?
Yeah, I bought farm equipment from him.
Have you?
Yeah, back when he,
I remember, right across the road there where the cemetery is. Who owns that property right there? You know where the cemetery is, right? If you go to the Macedonia Church, you'll bank off to the right, and the cemetery's up the hill right there. Well, to the left, I was helping Leroy raking some hay right there, and the tractor that I was driving, the thing wound up going out of gear, and it didn't have good brakes on it, and I thought I was going to die.
oh,
It got to going down that daggum embankment. I guess it got to going probably about 20 mile an hour, and of course, whenever you got a rake in behind you, and you're in the field, you're bouncing up and down. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like you're on a road. And I literally thought that I was going to die because it wound up going out of gear. As long as you got it in gear, once you start going down a embankment, the motor itself will help to hold it back to where it don't just go crazy.
that,
Who owns that property back in there?
Earl, what is it?
Right.
Bryant. Earl Bryant left that cemetery to the church.
He did.
There's several people around here that's buried there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's a small cemetery.
Yeah, it's a small cemetery.
Yeah.
Seems like there's some flinches up there, and there's a lot of people up there. A lot of big people that I know of in Kenton. Did y'all used to know where the hardware store is? Bill Sanderson? Did you ever know his dad?
Yeah, Charles Sanderson.
You knew Charles?
He was a good man.
He was. What did he do? Was he a farmer or something?
No, he worked for Texas Gas out here. He used to be Texas Gas. He used to be the supervisor.
Used to be what?
Supervisor over the Flint.
Oh, really?
He came from Mississippi up here.
He did.
He had rental houses too.
Did he?
Yeah.
So that means that y'all knew the Wades,
Yeah.
and you knew at one time the Schatzes.
Yeah. Sam, Abe, and
Sam.
Who was it that done the hardware store, worked on the lawnmowers all the time?
Cotton.
Cotton. Which one of them was it that was a deputy cop over there for years and years and years?
Morris.
Who?
Dallas Morris.
No, it was another one over there. Kind of heavy.
He was that one.
Brody Mullins.
Yeah. Mullins.
Yeah.
Who was the sheriff over at that time?
I had to have him.
Barney used to be all there years ago.
Did y'all know Damian Cross? That used to be the mayor over there?
Yeah.
How well did you know him?
Pretty well. He lived next door to my mother.
He did. Well, y'all probably knew him real well. We're supposed to be kin to him on my grandmother's side. We're also kin to the Neals, and also kin to, used to be a barbecue place right there on the right-hand side, like going to Rutherford. Sold some real good barbecue right there.
I don't remember.
It wasn't a ring. Then again, it may have been a ring. JR ring or something like that. JR's. Does that ring a bell?
No bell.
Go down to Kenton towards up. Used to be a grocery store.
Thompson's.
Thompson's grocery store, but then now they sell beer there now.
Okay, and whenever you leave Kenton and go to the right, like going to Union City, about 2 miles outside past where my grandmother used to live, there used to be a grocery store out there. Did you know them?
Yeah.
Ray and Lois?
of Callis's.
Well, it used to
Tom
be,
Callis.
well, it was a grocery store. It used to be a honky tonk, they used to call it.
Used to be a beer joint at one time, and now the Mennonites bought it, didn't they?
I think they got a cabinet shop there.
Cabinet shop there now.
Yeah.
But that used to be a honky tonk?
Yeah, back before my time, his man got shot out there.
Got killed?
Well, he got paralyzed from waist down.
Wow, I didn't know it was a honky tonk there.
Yeah, Tom Kelly moved from California, bought it, and put a grocery store there.
Okay.
He and his wife.
Was he the one that I'm thinking about, Ray? And
I don't.
because that was probably in the late '80s that I
Oh, I remember there was a grocery store there. I don't remember.
Ray and Lois.
Well, this
They had a daughter, probably about my age now.
would have been before then.
I don't remember
They
nobody
had a
from
grocery
Kelly
store there.
had a grocery store there.
Well, they did because this.
They sold gas, sold a little bit of whatnots as far as bread and cold drinks, and I think they sold beer too.
This girl was in my class at school, so that would have been back in the 50s.
Well, I don't remember
That's-
anybody else.
But I can't think what her name was, but it wasn't Ray. That was different. Guess
Did you ever know Ed Simmons that used to run the Hop-In store?
I knew of it.
Dang.
You knew of him?
Dan Simmons.
And Dan Simmons, I think they was
Yeah,
brothers or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, his brother did too,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And then Peggy and Roy Stone had it before then.
I don't know him.
Do you need to know them? Because y'all was probably still dealing with mostly people in Kenton at that time. You know, things have really changed, hadn't they? I mean, the roads has gotten better. People just sliding down the roads now, don't they? I mean, they just absolutely they act like they're on a speed car race somewhere. And
Somewhere.
and that's one of the reasons why so many people getting hurt, you know, and getting injured driving because they're driving too fast.
Yeah, the car ain't as good as it used to be either.
They ain't near as good.
Yeah.
Now, is that your buddy right there,
Yeah.
Froggy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got a bunch of them.
So y'all moved out here. If y'all been living here almost 50 years, y'all must have moved out here. You said it was 74? 75?
75.
75?
About 10 years.
I had a brother that got killed in the middle of Cydonia on a motorcycle wreck that ran into an 806 International tractor. His name was Douglas Jackson.
Oh,
Sure did.
well,
I knew another
He was
person.
19 at the time. He'd been working at Goodyear, and it was the first strike that Goodyear went on. And he wasn't working at the time, and he had a off-road motorcycle, and he was motorcycling, and he was pushed for time, and he had to hurry up and get back home, get the car to come and pick me up to go get some chickens that I'd won on a 4-H deal, and that tractor pulled out in front of him, and that was the end of him.
we didn't know him. There was another Douglas Jackson, Doug Jackson. That Joe Jackson had a son, Doug.
That's right.
Yeah, Wayne, Doug, and Billy Jackson.
Yeah.
There was another mysterious accident where somebody was on a lawnmower or something. Was it in between Kenton, right before you get to the turn off to turn left? Right there on the right hand side as you're going around the corner. That tornado almost got their house, but it didn't. Think it done some damage to it a little bit. But that was another kind of a freak accident. A lot of people's been injured around here because of farming equipment accidents, hadn't they?
Well, I'm sure they have. It's, but
Well, this fire equipment takes up the road again.
All right, do you rent all your property out?
We don't own but 6 acres here.
You don't own but 50 acres.
6.
6.
We used to own all the land, but we sold it.
How many hundreds of acres did you have at one
We
time?
had 86.
86. And then you sold it to the,
Mr. Hobbs.
you sold it to Mr. Hobbs is over here? I bet you Mr. Hobbs pretty much has as much property as this bunch down here. I may be wrong about that now.
Well, this woman probably got 5,000-6,000 acres.
5,000 or 6,000.
she has property that's not hers.
She got other farms everywhere.
She does.
Oh yeah,
Basically in Northwest Tennessee, I'm sure.
Western Tennessee.
Yeah.
She used to have her parents, where she come from.
Sevierville. She owns stuff there.
Her parents got dad, and her and sister got their farm. And I think she bought her sister's part out.
Gotcha.
But now she still owns them now.
Sevierville, Tennessee, that's all the way up in East Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to a Dollywood and stuff. Sevierville, Tennessee. If you own some property up there, you got some pretty rich real estate.
Well, they say, and I hadn't heard this woman say it, but she owns some land up to Dollywood.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she still does or not.
But in total, she's got like 5,000 or 6,000 acres.
But I'm just guessing about that. Now, he works a lot of land. Now, he bought some land too.
He did.
Yeah, her son.
I got you. Well, other than farming, what else did you do?
I worked in a factory.
Where at?
I worked for Homes International 16 years in Newton.
Okay.
I worked at Calwood.
You may have known my mother out there, Betty Jackson. You worked at Kelwood in Rutherford?
Yeah.
Okay. She worked out there for a couple of years. I don't know if you got acquainted with all the women out there or not.
No, I worked in the cut department. There's all men.
Okay. Well, that was sad how all the conglomerates has basically sold us out, and now all these buildings that used to have 200 and 300, 400 employees, and I guess at one time didn't the plastic place down here have 2 different shifts?
They did.
And now it's just an empty hull.
And
We got sold out, didn't we? We got bought out, or whatever you want to call it.
3 factories down here, and they don't have neither one. 3 factories in Kitten, they nothing.
It's basically turned into a retirement center, hasn't it? I mean, all of Northwest Tennessee had, because, people used to be hustling and bustling, used to be working. People made money, and they didn't have time to do drugs. They didn't have time to get into mischievousness like they are today.
No, they didn't make enough money back then.
Right. But, I mean, they stayed busy, you know what I'm saying? And plus, we didn't have all these computers and stuff and all this stuff going on. With the internet, I think that's been another downfall to America, don't you?
Well, it's pros and cons.
Yeah, pros and cons. Now, who was your mother?
My mother was Zola Witherington.
Witherington. I've heard that name. Where was y'all raised up at?
Out, let's see, west of Kennon.
West of Kent.
Yeah.
You go to the second road to the left, as you go out of Kenton, go to Union City.
Yeah.
The second road to the left.
Going toward Union City?
Going toward Union City before you get to the
Okay, over there at, what is the name of that church back in there?
Union Grove.
Union Grove.
But it's the road before that.
That's the same, if that's the road before that, that was the road that Lucille lived on. And
No, this is another road.
oh, it sure is. It's the same road back in there where Billy Holloman used to live.
Right,
Did you know Billy?
I did. He lived on the left and we lived on the right.
What do you think of Billy Holloman? That big old head.
Well, Billy Holloman,
He wasn't right, was he? He was a smoocher. And plus, whenever his son died up there in the jail, he wouldn't even claim the body. I thought that was kind of pretty rotten of him. And he was the one that got in on some of that deal that had all those cars, had them nice cars all around on his building. And then he got robbed, and then somebody caught a house, and all the cars on fire. You remember that?
yeah, I remember.
I know he stole a bunch of cars, and
Yeah, he was involved with my uncle towards stealing cars.
Yeah, that's where I heard the Charles Jordan.
That's where you heard the Charles Jordan. See,
But Billy had some good about him. He wasn't all bad.
no, he wasn't all bad.
he had some good parents. So
He did.
He did, but his mother thought he could do no wrong.
that was on son's head.
Okay. He had some education in behind him too, didn't he?
Well, I'm sure he did. I don't know. But when he fell hard, I guess you'd say.
Yeah.
He got pitiful before he died.
Yeah, he did. Sure did. My grandmother and him was best friends. He'd hang over there at Miss Lucille's. He'd always pop in along about 10 o'clock, a little bit before 10 o'clock. He'd drink him some buttermilk, and she always had good cornbread. And he'd stay around there for probably a half hour or so before he finally moseyed on back to his house. But now whenever my grandmother, she didn't drive, whenever she'd need something, he was always good enough to come and pick her up and take her, usually to over at E.W. James, and get her supplies and stuff and bring them back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't all bad.
No, he wasn't all bad.
But as I said, his mama thought he couldn't do any wrong.
See, I didn't know her or his dad.
And that was, I think she realized later that he did, but at the time she...
Did they ever find out, didn't somebody steal a bunch of money from him or something?
I have no idea.
Whenever that house burnt?
I have no idea.
Because by that time, y'all was probably already over here, wasn't you?
We might have been...
No, that's probably about the time that you was going to move here. You said you moved here in 74. I think it was in the early 70s is whenever all that went down.
Well, I can't really
We lived in
remember.
town one time, and somebody called us and said that Billy had set a fire out there at his mama's place, and it's about to burn down. And I went out there, me and another guy. If we hadn't went out there, everything they had was burned up. I mean, we fought fire for a long time.
Yeah,
If his house was burning down, his farm.
but he stayed in the house all the time
And he
with
stayed
his
in the
fire.
house and watched us fight the fire.
Well, I was told that somebody deliberately set it on fire and that they robbed the old man because the old man had a bunch of money.
Him.
Well, this wasn't when the house burned. This was before the house burned.
Yeah, yeah, the
Except-
house didn't burn it.
Okay, so he had two burns.
Yeah, but
Okay.
this,
Who else lived down that road? Do you remember?
well,
They lived next house.
Dillon's,
Dillon's.
yeah,
Remember them?
Gable Dutt,
Worrell's,
Who?
Sarah and Gable Dutt.
Earl?
Joe Worrell,
Okay.
uh,
I knew Mr. Earl that worked over there at the Amico station. Y'all remember him?
Earl what?
Earl. I don't remember.
Oh, Earl Jones?
Earl Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We knew.
They had a little restaurant right there.
Yeah.
See, I went to work for Wayman Jewell. I know y'all know
I
him.
knew him.
You knew him?
Yeah, but I didn't really know.
Okay. He had he come from Chicago with a construction crew, had a crane and everything. And if I'm not mistaken, at the time, Tommy Wade's wasn't as big as what it is now. I still call it Wade's Granary.
Yeah.
And there used to be a cotton gin over there. Remember the cotton gin?
There used to be two cotton gins in Kenton.
That's right. And there was a empty spot right there with a small little trailer right there, and that was Wayman's. That was Tri-State's office right there.
I remember that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Anyways, I went to work for him in 77. I had to get my mother to sign a permit to be able to work for him because at the time I was like, way below 18. And that's whenever I started doing construction work. I know Buddy and also Jim Jewell, and I guess they're all dead now.
Oh, yeah.
Now Steve Jewell did live over where that tornado come through, right over there in behind the Tillmans over there, that built that nice house. He lived back over there, but now he's done sold everything and moved up somewhere in middle Illinois somewhere. He was married to Betty Sue. Betty Sue had the
Beauty shop.
beauty shop, and there was somebody else that had a beauty shop back over there that my mother went to a lot.
Linda.
Right there at the corner, basically parallel from where the granary is. You remember her?
Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret Long.
Margaret Long.
Yeah.
Sure did. That's where my mother got her hair done a lot.
Her sister lives right up there.
Who?
Her sister lives right up there. little white house.
Okay.
Same way.
Okay. John Aline Land was the one that lived over there in the Hop-In Cydonia community that done my mother's hair for years and years and years. Y'all probably never did know too many people over that way, did you? Did you know the Jacobses?
I knew of it, yeah. Crockett.
The Crockett's?
Mr. Mercer Crockett. I knew he used to have a dozer.
Right.
I knew of it, but I didn't know well.
Did you know Mr. Coble?
I knew of it.
I think he had a dozer business too, didn't he?
So he drove a dozer.
Yeah.
Tom Coble.
Yeah, Tom Coble. How about Hayden and McWright? Did you know Hayden and McWright? Everybody had to know Hayden and McWright. Hayden McWright had them big long arms, went plumb down almost his knees, and had the big hands, big arms and big hands. They went to every sale around here, probably 7 counties wide. They lived on that road after you go to Alamo. After you go to Alamo Church, you go around to the left, and if you keep going straight, because there was another road that went, the same road, Old Reeves Road, went to the right, you go straight, and that road goes all the way back to the bottom back in there and comes to a dead end. That's where Hayden McWright lived back in there.
I didn't know.
You probably remember the Warrens. Mr. Warren had a old salvage yard right there around the corner, right there by the Hop-In store. And then also T.C. Sweat had a salvage yard.
That's my grandson's.
Huh?
That was my grandson's uncle. I mean, son-in-law.
Your son-in-law's uncle.
Yeah, my son-in-law's uncle.
Your son-in-law's uncle, T.C. Sweat?
Yeah.
Really?
My daughter married Cherry Sweat.
I never was convinced that he committed suicide. Was you?
Well, they say his wife, claim his wife did it, but they never could prove it.
Well, she's still living too.
Yeah.
She's almost 100, probably is 100 years old now.
They had a bunch of kids.
Oh, they had 13. She's outlived about 7, 8 of them. Some people just ain't never going to die.
I know. They too mean to die.
I guess she was born. Her family originally come from back over the Etheridge Levee, like going over to Greenfield.
Yeah.
Do y'all by chance remember at one time there used to be several families that lived down there on the old Beech Grove Road back over there where the old hunting club and stuff used to be? In the bottoms back in there?
I think
There was a Davis back in there, and did you ever know Jinx Wallace?
No.
Never knew him. Grady Harden, did you never know him? He lived right there on the river.
Oh, yeah, I do love him, yeah.
He fished all the time. Homer Thompson, did you know him?
No.
Everybody called him Sonny. You may have known my cousin. He had 2 hands that was burnt off, and he had hooks.
There used to be a man come to talk, had hooks, but I didn't really know what his name was.
That was him. That was Captain Hook. They called him Captain Hook. That was his nickname. His real name was Gary. Everybody called him Sonny.
This guy was.
He was a Davis.
Okay, now whose kin do you have? Was he kin to you?
He is kin to me on the Jackson side. My grandmother, Miss Aldell, used to be a Davis, and whenever she married into the Jacksons.
Well, are you kin to Nancy Davis used to be?
Nancy Davis?
Used to be Nancy Davis.
I don't know. I may
She
be.
was kin to him.
Him who? Sonny?
Yeah.
The one. Well, I'm sure I am then.
Her daddy's name was,
You know, I can't remember what it was.
well, what was? Her mother's name was Myrtle. Her daddy's name was.
He milked cows.
Now, there was a Davis that run that Hop-In store down there at one time.
No.
Billy Earl Davis. And Billy Earl Davis and Sonny Davis was brothers. Billy Earl and Laverne.
I just remember that Nancy was kin to this one.
She was kin to one got his arm. Hands burnt
Yeah,
off.
yeah. See, most of my people on the Jackson side was raised up down there. Have y'all ever been down that lane where the old Primitive Baptist Church used to be? They called it the Hardshell Baptist Church, in between Mount Pia and Reeves.
No.
You ain't never been to the Hardshell Baptist Church back in there? That's where all my people would basically come from whenever they come over this way, long about time Davy Crockett come over here in the early 1800s.
Yeah.
Johnny Davis.
Yeah.
Johnny Davis, Nancy's.
Yes, 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 we're kin to him.
Okay. Well, Nancy's my sister-in-law.
Wow. So we're kind of kin to each other in an indirect way then, ain't we?
She married Larry's brother.
Okay. Yeah. But there was a Billy Earl Davis. As a matter of fact, I was working with Billy Earl Davis's son. In 1979, I was putting up girders on a 1,000-foot extension on the A.O. Smith building in Milan, Tennessee, and I wound up falling, and it broke both my legs, crushed both ankles, crushed 3 vertebrae in my back, ruptured 2 discs, broke both arms, and I laid in the hospital down there in Madison County for 6 weeks and never got to see the inside of my bathroom because I had pulleys and ropes and all kinds of things trying to pull me back, put Humpty Dumpty back together again. I was 19 years old whenever that happened.
Oh, my goodness.
19.
Well, looks like they put you back.
They did, but I'm going to have an operation on my left ankle. All the gristle has worn out. Now I got my ankle bone and my leg bone, basically bone on bone touching. So I'm going to have an operation on my left ankle. But yeah, I've had multiple accidents. Not just accidents in the construction industry, but I've had multiple accidents. My goodness, life is really short, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're here today and gone tomorrow, you know it?
We're not promised of tomorrow.
We're really not, are we?
Uh-uh.
Where do y'all go to church at?
Christian Chapel, Church of Christ, out on the Concord Road, on the road that Ethel lives on.
You go to Concord?
I go to Christian Chapel.
The one on the past it, on the little church on the right-hand side?
Right.
Okay. All right. You don't live a half mile from Ethel.
No.
Matter of fact, Ethel used to own all that property back in there, and after her husband died, I guess it become too obnoxious to deal with, and she wound up selling it to somebody out there. And now she only owns, I think she owns like 20 or 30 acres back in there, but she's got a real nice home. So y'all used to know the guy that built that house where Ethel's living now? Johnny Baker?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Did you know his brother?
Eddie Baker.
Eddie? One he was airplane mechanic?
Yes.
He worked at the airport at Memphis, I think. I don't know what he did, but...
Whatever happened to him? Is he still living or is he dead?
I know he is.
Huh?
Well, I know he still is.
Well, you know Johnny's dead, right?
Yeah. All of them's dead except Eddie, unless he's died and we hadn't heard.
Yeah. Over there where that house is, before Damian Cross died, he drove down that road and he claimed that there used to be a schoolhouse right there at the end of that road.
Well, I don't know about that.
I don't know.
That must have been way before even our time.
There used to be a schoolhouse across the field from where I lived.
It did.
But, yeah.
Over by Billy Holloman?
Yes.
Crane used to own that one, Ethel Hobbs. Years ago, and of course, I think Johnny got a new house down there.
Yeah.
He used to, I think his last name was Crane.
Yeah.
He used to live down there.
Right. We helped Johnny there towards the last. I done forgot now. I think it was in 81 or 82. He had a lot of cotton, and we had 2 cotton pickers at the time. We was farming about 500 acres ourselves, and we helped him one fall towards getting his cotton out, and that was about the last that I knowed anything about him. And then I had an accident in 83, and I almost died. And the summer, into the latter part of the summers, whenever I started working for the Neal family, and I worked with Leroy Neal for over a year, and used to have that office right there on the right hand side before you got down there to that grocery store on Highway 45, and we used to have Bible studies just about every night.
Is Leroy's brother Bobby?
Bobby?
Is he still living?
No. No, he passed away, and also his sister passed away.
Yes, Virginia.
Virginia. Now, who was she married to? A
Davidson.
Robinson? Who?
Davidson.
Davidson. Do you know anything about their family?
Well, I think that guy died, finally, didn't he?
Yeah, he died.
He
Who?
had a daughter named Penny.
Jess Davidson died.
The one that was married to Virginia?
Yeah,
Yeah,
He must have been recently then.
I thought he did. Maybe wrong.
maybe he didn't. No, I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
Well, he might not have. He owns that house right there. That's where your sister.
Every time I drive by a Sunnyside Cemetery, I see the headstone over there. I don't see no date on the.
Yeah,
Well, he might not have.
But do you know anything about his family?
he had a daughter, Penny, and
Yep.
a son, Jimmy.
I don't know, son.
Jimmy. Oh, and Jimmy married Nina Johns. Nina Johns.
That's right.
And
Penny used to run that grocery store over there, didn't he? That convenience store?
And yeah, I think she's had open heart surgery.
Ooh,
Going to.
Penny,
wow.
lately. She may not have had it, but she was.
She was also associated with the Neal some way or another, wasn't she?
Oh, let me see.
If I'm not mistaken, Kay Neal or Faye, Kay married Woody,
Yeah.
and I don't know who Faye married. I don't even know if Faye's still living. I know Terry's still living.
I can't get my head together.
But I don't know how that Penny is associated with the Neal family, but I just know that they are associated. Probably somebody she married, I'm sure.
She's married Billy Petty, who she's married to.
Billy Petty.
Yeah. He's bad shape. He's got cancer.
Really?
I can't figure out how it would be, but
Did y'all know the Greens? I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah.
Terry Green,
Jerry, Donald.
Jerry Green.
yeah.
There was a whole lot of them Greens, wasn't it?
Yeah. These two girls.
Scotty Whitworth. Who was he married to?
LaWanda, let's see, LaWanda. I think her name was LaWanda. Does that sound right? But I can't think what her last name was.
Did he go through a divorce and wind up marrying again?
He did.
Did he?
Well, yeah. Now she died. His first wife died.
Okay.
That's Troy.
Y'all got somebody here?
Yeah.
Or somebody going to see something or do something or just?
It's her son-in-law.
Oh, okay. I don't want to disrupt nothing.
Troy, this is Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, how you doing?
Doing just fine.
And this is our son-in-law.
Sitting around reminiscing, man, talking about different people that they knew, that I knew, and
I got you.
going all the way back to,
You get Larry gets talking about people. He comes with people I ain't never heard of. That's for sure.
Yeah.
What was that? The wind?
And that's not a lot of people.
I did notice something whenever I was coming down this road, right before you get to this first farm on the left-hand side, somebody put something about the Obion River. Fork of Deer, Obion River, there was a sign right there.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's a nice looking sign.
Yeah,
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about? The farmer right down the road here?
yeah, Jerry Hobbs.
J. Ray Hobbs. It'd be on the other side of his pole barn right there, on the other side of his house. There's a sign that says something about Fork of Deer River.
They're doing dog trials up there today, is all I know.
Got what?
Dog trials.
What is a dog trial?
Where they run dogs, get them, train them.
Dog trial.
yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing that.
Is it coon hunting dogs?
No,
Or beetles or what? Bird dogs?
Whatever Terry had.
they had beetles, but I don't know what they train. I kind of know dogs.
They go out there so far. It's like they're bird dogs. They're going out there getting whatever. I don't know. I really don't know either.
Well, the Fork of Deer River, is there an easy way to get to the Fork of Deer River?
They go to Hopkins.
Yeah, it's a long way. It's a pretty good trail. It's not on this road. This old Vine River on this road.
Yeah, you can go, but I mean, it's back there.
Right,
Field.
right.
We used to
Can't you go back over there where Ethel used to live, where that trail is, and go all the way back into there, and then go down? Ain't that ain't that over there where the Forkadeers is?
But you want to get your car stuck, and they gravel so far.
You just might have to have a mule to get back there, wouldn't you? One of those 4-wheelers or something. And plus, then you'd probably have to have permission to get back there, wouldn't you?
I wouldn't do it without permission.
The cemetery over here, the Indian Mound,
Yeah,
has that always been there?
as long as I can remember.
Did they ever determine what branch of Indians that it was right back in there?
I thought it was the Cheyennes, but I'm not sure. There's 2 Indian mounds. One of them's on the road, and one of them's farther
Off in the field.
off in the field.
Is it as big as this mound here?
Yeah, it's as big, maybe bigger.
Maybe bigger. Do they got a little thing recognizing it? A little.
No,
Well, she keeps the one down there, keep it mowed.
yeah.
And they got her son's dog died, so he got his dog buried in that mound. He's got a
Marker.
marker.
But they keep it up really well.
She keeps all that mowed down.
I don't see how they mow it.
They do.
I wouldn't mow it.
You can't mow it with a riding mower.
Yeah,
They
they
do.
do.
They do.
Yeah. I think you go round and round.
Really?
Somebody mows it. I don't know really how to do it.
But you've been to that second mound back over there pretty close to the river?
Well, it's right on the road.
The second mound is?
Yeah, you drive down this road. and you
I know where the first mound is.
But those in the field, you can't get to it. 'Cause
You can't get to the other one.
you can if there ain't no corn there.
I got you. And you got to go all the way down towards where the bottom is, going
No.
into the river area.
No, it's back this way.
It's kind of parallel with it.
It is.
You remember all these houses used to be up through there?
Yes, sir.
Well, it'd be after that in the field first. You can see
Okay.
it from the road. But now it's
See, whenever I worked for Leroy, we used to farm a lot of this property around here. Leroy done a whole lot of hay stuff. He didn't really do a whole lot of that I know of towards putting in a crop or getting out a crop, but he sure was into the implement stuff and also doing hay.
It's tough right here.
The mosquitoes done got big, man. You know, they was real small, but since it done all this raining, they done got oversized.
Oh, you never know mosquitoes over here before.
We don't usually have mosquitoes, but we do right now. I killed one, and I'm after another one.
Now, you from Kenton yourself, sir?
No, I live in there.
You live in Dyer. You may have known some of my people's. He had 2 daughters. He had Reba Jordan and Lori Jordan
Don't know anything.
and Jason Jordan. There was a Jason Jordan. He wound up dying at the age of 48 with cancer. His dad was Bill Jordan. That'd be my uncle.
You're not any kin to Freddie Jordan.
Ain't kin of Freddie Jordan.
What
I
about Michael?
don't know Michael. Must be a different set of.
He is black.
Oh, y'all pulling my leg. I understand. I wish I had his money. He had a pot full of money, but he could move, couldn't he?
Yeah.
He could do the jigaboo, couldn't he? He's the one done that moon dance, that moonwalk.
Yeah.
No, he's a basketball player. Michael Jordan is.
Okay,
Michael Jackson is the one you think of.
Yeah.
okay.
Are you kin to Michael Jackson?
No, I ain't kidding you.
You know, he did bleach himself. I
He
didn't
was
know.
he was the one that I was wishing that I had his money.
Both of them. I don't know. Jordan probably got quite a bit.
Yeah. He wasn't the one that died in that airplane wreck, was he?
No.
Kobe.
That was Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant.
Maybe.
Boy,
Maybe.
Boy, that shook him up over there, didn't it? What do y'all think about all that fire over in Hawaii?
Oh, that's awful.
It is awful, isn't it? It basically just.
There's 90-something people they found dead so far.
Do you think they'll find all
I
of?
heard about it, but I didn't know it was that bad.
It's on TV.
There's still over 1,000 missing. the way I understand it is that they had a fire early that morning and they put it out and they thought everything was fine. And fire department, everybody went home. And later on that morning, the winds got back up again about 70, 75, 80 mile an hour.
They had a hurricane or something, didn't they?
Well, there was a hurricane off from it. They didn't actually have a hurricane hit it, but they was getting hurricane force winds. And they said that it knocked down a bunch of the power lines, and the power lines is what caught everything on fire. And now there's actually a big lawsuit against that electrical company over
I don't
there.
know what they could do about it, because they didn't do it.
You can't sue a municipality. It doesn't ever work out for you.
They did do it. They done it out there in California. You got something like $30 billion
Wow.
from the California electrical company out there because they didn't use proper protocol.
Gotcha.
Somebody didn't flip the switch whenever they noticed they should have flipped the switch.
Oh,
It caused Paradise to burn up. I think it killed about 75 or 80 people in that fire out there. That was just about 5 years ago, whenever they was having all that drought. People are beginning to hold these bigger corporations, principalities. They're beginning to hold them accountable.
Always somebody wants to sue somebody.
Oh, this is the suingest bunch in the world. But did they come up here and put another line up here on that tower right there?
Yeah,
Did they?
yes,
You know why they're doing that, don't you?
no.
So for the grid, keep the grid up.
They're beefing the grid up for all these electrical cars. The Green New Deal.
I'm gonna unload this stuff.
Your stuff is,
The Green New Deal. Listen, I'm going to get on.
All right,
I'm going to get on. It's been a pleasure talking to y'all. I appreciate you talking to me.
Where you live?
I live down there in Hop-In,
Oh,
in between Hop-In and Sidonia.
we just go through there, we go to Martin's spot,
Do you?
but I don't know anybody really, you know.
Did you ever remember where the Beach Grove Church used to be? A little bitty old white church?
Yeah, on the right. Go
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You turn right there at that road right there at Beach Grove Church, and you go to a T, and I live right there off of Thompson and Beach Grove Road right there. Now, somebody has bought in that church. I don't
I
know if
know they've been cleaning up.
they've been cleaning up. They're going to convert it over to a house.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
well, it's a shame for it to grow up like it did.
it was a shame, wasn't it? Matter of fact, I wish that I could have bought the piece of property, and Marvin Alexander had it. I'm getting to Marvin, the salesman over there, the auctioneer. And if I didn't have so many irons in the fire there at my place, and if I was in better shape, I would have bought it. And I don't know if I would have converted it back over to the same thing that it was, towards being a church, or if I'd have converted it over. But I would have done something with it myself if I could have, but I couldn't have.
I'd like to have it, moved it out here. Make a wood shop out of it.
Yeah, the building. Because it was an old-timey building, just sitting on them slabs.
I don't know, it cost so much to get it moved, so it probably wouldn't be worth it.
Marvin was asking way too much for that building. He was asking $40,000 for that building. I think the people that bought it, I don't think they gave him about half that. But even at half, with the price of lumber and everything, it probably cost about $75,000, $80,000, maybe almost $100,000 to re-renovate it over to a house. Now, I was lucky enough that I got one of the pews out of it. It had a 14-foot pew, had a bunch of, a few pews in there. Yeah, that building was built in 1900.
Where did the money go to?
Huh?
Where did the money go to?
3 sisters owned it. I didn't even know that until the other day. 3 sisters owned it, and they was the ones that gave up ownership on it and put it up for sale. Like I said, Marvin Alexander had it, and he sold it to these people from Florida that's going to renovate it over to a house.
I know they've been doing some work on it.
But that was probably one of the oldest buildings still standing in Weakley County. Built in 1900. Now the Primitive Baptist Church in between Mount Peleia and Reeves, that church come into effect about 1853 or 1856.
That's where Nancy Bear's on.
They call them Mount Peleia, but
Yeah.
not the Primitive Baptist.
They go to the Baptist church.
Yeah, they go to the Baptist church at Mount Peleia.
At Mount Peleia.
My brother does.
Somebody told me at one time Mount Peleia used to have a grocery store, and Used to sell hamburgers and stuff there. I don't remember that. Used to sell sandwiches there.
We don't do much that direction. We don't know.
We just go to work.
How about Mr. Dr. Jack? How well did y'all know Dr. Jack?
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful man.
He was a good guy. He's worked on me a many a times.
Couldn't beat him.
I never did know his dad.
I knew his dad.
You did?
Yeah.
Was
I
his
told you know everybody.
was his dad a doctor?
Yeah. I cut my foot with a hole one time, and he doctored my foot. His dad did.
He did.
I was probably 13, 14 years old.
Now his dad, if he was a doctor, that must have meant that he probably done home visits at that
Oh,
time,
they
right?
both of them did.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, Dr. Jack did.
Yeah, they both.
That was a shame that they tore that building down, and then they built that other building. It's supposed to be a clinic, and now they've shut that clinic down. And I guess it's been dormant now for what, 7, 8 years?
Probably.
Oh, wow.
Why hadn't somebody went in there and I mean, Kenton really needs a clinic.
Well,
Or you would think, or how about the dentist guy over there next to the grocery store? He just packed up and left and didn't tell nobody nothing, did he?
he
Well,
retired.
Yeah.
I know he retired or something. I don't know what happened, but he didn't tell nobody he was going to pack up and leave.
Well, yeah, I heard it before he
He's
did.
in
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he was my dentist at one time.
Yeah, he's good.
Is he still living in Kenton?
I don't know.
As far as I know, he is.
Really?
The city, Kenton built that building for him to come on. And I guess if he stayed there long enough, they gave him the building. Now, I don't know that, that's what I thought. But they got a sign up right now for rent.
Well, that was an asset to Kenton. Just like Dr. Gray being there that done medical work and the 3 factories and
Cotton gins is getting.
cotton gins and everything. I mean, all those was assets. It's now been all taken away from Kenton. Like I said, Kenton's turned into a retirement center.
Well, Dr. Mike was, he should have been old enough to retire. I'm trying to get in my head how old he would be, but
Well, what they charge, they don't
If he in
have to work too many years, they can
anyway.
retire.
Well, there's 2 sides of that story. They do get good money, but it also costs a lot of money for malpractice insurance. They'll pay about $250,000 a year for malpractice insurance, plus all their schooling and stuff that they had to get trained, plus their equipment. You know, I mean, there's 2 sides of all that.
well, I don't begrudge him.
Hey, where would we be if we didn't have doctors and dentists and people like that has an ambition to want to help people?
Yeah.
But Kenton's really went downhill in the past
Well,
30 years, 30, 40 years in comparison to what it used to be.
Well, if you
It
do
has.
anything, you gotta go south or go north. They ain't got nothing to get.
Somebody told me at one time Mount Pia used to be incorporated,
I have no
and now it's unincorporated.
that's,
You don't think one day Kenton become unincorporated, do you? Not even have a city hall, not have no city water or nothing?
it won't be in my time.
It could die out that way, though, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
And I guarantee if that tornado would have been just a little bit further degrees to the left, and if it went right downtown to Kenton would have been over with.
Yep.
I don't know if it had been completely over with. You know, it's kind of like Sandburg. I think they brought in some temporary trailers or something out there in Sandburg, but man, it really tore Sandburg all to pieces, didn't it?
That's part of it.
it was bad.
We got 50-something houses in Kenton.
It did.
Like 58 houses.
But that was within the same week or so, wasn't it?
And the same tornado hit.
No, there was a different tornado up there.
I'm talking about in Kenton, yeah.
But it was during the same events, right?
Right.
It was several tornadoes that broke out.
Yeah.
And was that the one also hit Dresden?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it basically went over my house. It went over Beach Ridge, and it come in, I think, just west of Sharon. It come around Sharon, and then it went on the other side of Sharon going toward Dresden, and it almost got that nursing home over there. It probably come within about 2 football fields of getting that nursing home. Wouldn't that have been a bad thing? If it had hit that nursing home.
It took a big part of Dresden. I mean,
It really hurt Dresden. It's the worst tornado that I've seen hit in this area. And I've worked a whole lot of catastrophes. One of my first catastrophes that I worked was down in Katrina, down in southern Mississippi and Louisiana. But and to this day, all them areas, and Mayfield, Kentucky, it basically just took Mayfield, Kentucky completely off the map, didn't it, almost?
It did at one time.
Casey, north of Union City, like going to,
Moscow.
yeah, up there towards Kentucky, up there, it took Casey off the map too. These storms have become violent. They've become hostile, haven't they?
They're getting closer.
Huh?
They're getting closer to us.
They are, ain't they?
Yep.
The good Lord's trying to show us something, ain't he?
Yeah, they had storms back in Bible days too.
They did, but not on this level that we know of.
That we know of. But, you know, when they were out in the boat and Jesus was sleeping,
That's right.
that was a bad storm.
So was that storm produced by the Heavenly Father going to kill His own Son, or was that storm produced by the forces of evil pertaining to Lucifer?
Well, it wasn't produced by God. He allowed it to happen, but He didn't.
That's a good explanation. But I think it was Lucifer that made up that storm, because it was Jesus that basically had control over it and said, "Get this behind me," and the storm just automatically just become calm.
Peace, be still.
And it freaked everybody out in the boat, didn't it? Because it was so quick and sudden whenever Jesus gave the order. Of course, there was lots of things that Jesus done. As far as I'm concerned, if it would have happened in my lifetime, I don't know that I could ever get over that. Seeing dead people walk and
him, you know,
huh?
we've been better off. We had to kill him.
We would have. We sure would have.
It's that too long.
Well, thank y'all for talking to me,
Well, I'm afraid you didn't learn much.
and good luck to all of us. Right?
I can't remember stuff like I used to.
Oh, I know. Me neither. The older you get, the old gray mare, she just ain't what she used to be, is she?
You're right about it.
Did you ever pick cotton?
Oh yeah.
Did you ever pull anything in behind a mule?
Oh yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
Such as,
I run a section there behind the mules.
really?
They tell me not to get over there and ride that hare. Well, I caught him not looking. I had to ride it. I got my foot on.
Is that where you hurt yourself? Or no, you said you hurt yourself with a hole.
But I didn't tell him. I hopped and finished working.
See, I went to Dr. Jack too several different times on several different events. But one of those events was I was swimming in my grandpa's pond, and somebody must have thrown a bottle or something over there, and I hit it the side of my foot, the top of my foot, and it went all the way down to where your cartridges is in your foot. And I went to Dr. Jack. I was bleeding like a stuck hog, and Dr. Jack looked at it. He said, "I can't do nothing for you." He said, "You just need to take him on up to Union City. I'll make a telephone call before you ever get up there." And he did. But I think it took about 30-something stitches in my foot to sew it up, because it was so deep they had to sew it up on the inside and then sew it up on the outside. I didn't know the doctors could do that. Well, I'm gonna get out of here.
No trouble with